It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You know, you really, it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like, if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy, Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Time to rise and grind right here on the Early Line. It is the Sports Grid Network. I'm Donnie Rightside. He is Joe Ranieri. And over the next 2 hours, we got you covered, people. We'll get you up to date on all the latest information, like what happened in last night's Monday Night Football game, get you caught up in the NBA, the look ahead to Thursday Night Football and this weekend's action, some Kalshi markets that you might want to dip into. We always love Tuesdays because we turn the chapter, Joe, right? Week 12 in the NFL, boom, away we go. Week 13's, boom, away we go in NCAA football. I love this year. Let's get the perspective. Let's get the people the information they know. And as always, Joe, we keep it fun around here. We do.
Yeah, we do. And we've got also the single biggest kind of start to college basketball tonight, Donnie, at the Garden with the Champions Classic, where you get the 4 big blue bloods, you know, the Dukes, the Kentuckys, the Kansas, the Michigan States of the world. Doubleheader at the Garden, what many people believe is the official kickoff to college basketball season.
College basketball season on the horizon. There's talks of getting 24 teams in the playoff for NCAA football. I love this time of year. It's a Tuesday, Joe. Give the people what they need. It's time to get caffeinated.
Well, Donnie, today we want to talk about what might just be the single most impressive coaching job done in the entire NFL. And I'm talking about Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Now, you know this. I have always said that coaching matters in the NFL. Doesn't matter in the NBA, despite what they want to tell you, but it certainly matters in the NFL. And here the Denver Broncos are sitting at 9-2 on the season. They are in first place in the AFC West. And let me remind you where they play, because this isn't the NFC South. This is the division of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It's the division of Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. And Sean Payton has his team looking down at all of them. What he has done in 2.5 seasons is nothing short of a miracle here. Remember what he walked into. Let's take a trip down memory lane here. He was in salary cap apocalypse. They were paying Russell Wilson $85 million to not play for them. The franchise hadn't made the playoffs in 7 years. That is what he took over. It was an absolute dumpster fire. But like every good coach, he had a plan. He ripped the Band-Aid off. He got rid of Russ. He drafted Bo Nix at number 12 when everyone questioned it. And look at them now. Bo Nix isn't just one of those guys that manages games. He's playing point guard in an offense that Sean Payton perfectly tailored to what he does best. Shocker. He put him in a position to be successful. He ended the playoff drought as a rookie a year ago, and now in year 2, he's stepping up in the fourth quarter to beat teams like, the Kansas City Chiefs. And coaching, it's not just head coaching. It's also about who do you hire as coordinators. And Peyton brought back Vance Joseph, a guy who was fired as the head coach in Denver and somehow convinced him to come back to the franchise and run the defense. And now what? They got a top 3 defense that shuts down Mahomes and the Chiefs and just about every other offense. That takes guts. It also takes a special culture to make that work. This team is winning ugly. I get it. 18-15, 19-16, 10-7. But guess what, Donnie? They all count. They're in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Home field advantage in Denver, anyone? Maybe in the playoffs? That is a nightmare for everybody else. So all the teams out there looking for a new head coach next year, and I'm looking at you, New York Giants. Pay attention. Coaching matters. Culture matters. Fit matters. Sean Payton has proven it in Denver. Don't just hire a name. Hire a guy that can actually build a team, because right now the Broncos are the best story in football, and it all starts with the head coach, Sonny.
In a mile-high city, getting your quarterback to play in the biggest moments and sticking with him here. And understand this. Sometimes you can just be front runners, but when you know how a coach has backing up that quarterback and has his skill set ready, they can come back and win games. And that's all the Broncos do. Down in the fourth quarter, no problem. My quarterback's going to make it happen, and I'm going to put him in the right position today. And that right position starts with the early lineup, and the wrong position is quarterback that we're going to talk about over the next 2 parts here. Michael Penix Jr., who would have saw this coming? ACL injuries for a guy that always injures his ACLs. Penix down for the Atlanta Falcons. Thank goodness they have like a $80 million old backup quarterback, though.
Yeah, man. Well, money well spent, maybe. We'll see. The problem, they got a lot more problems there, but the problem is that offensive coordinator is awful in Atlanta. And again, we talked about Peyton putting Bo Nix in a position to succeed. They have not done a great job of that with either of these 2 quarterbacks right now. And unfortunately, I guess maybe the smartest thing they did was not trade Kirk Cousins and keep him because he might be the guy that saves Raheem Morris's job in the end of the day, Donnie, which is ironic as it gets.
I think he has 1 more week here. You lose to the Saints, he's got to be out the door because that franchise is just slipping away at this point. Your young franchise quarterback going to be down. And if it is an ACL injury they have to repair, he doesn't even start next season here for them. So they are in some doom and gloom right now. The New York Jets are like, we've seen enough, Justin Fields. You're a running back playing quarterback. You're going to the bench. Tyrod Taylor's going to get the start. But, Joe, hear me out. Put Justin Fields at tight end. You can't cut him because you owe him too much dead money next year. It doesn't make any sense to do that. Put this kid at tight end. Add to the weaponry here. He's not a quarterback. Let him play tight end.
Let him do anything. I mean, make him a DB.
Kick.
I mean, something, anything other than quarterback, because he's not a very good one at that. But we all knew this. This is nothing new. I mean, you want to give yourself a chance to win some games, right? Or at least you want to give people the idea that you're giving yourself a chance to win games. And Tyrod Taylor, if nothing else, at least gives you a different look and will probably throw for more than 60 yards, Donnie, which is a start.
Yeah, it is a start there. Maybe a first down after first down, and maybe you can be more competitive. We'll see for the Jets, probably more playing to the lottery. They got a treasure trove of draft picks. They have to make the right decision on the quarterback of the future. Why? Because Justin Fields isn't your quarterback of the future. Jamar Chase, he's not playing in the near future. 1-game suspension. Can't be spitting on people during an NFL game. He's fined over $500,000 for his game check, and he'll sit out.
I love the doubling down on I didn't do anything. The NFL's like, yeah, no, we have the video. You did it. And $500,000. And by the way, you'll be missing week 12 against the Patriots of all teams. So yeah, not a good situation for him at all, Jamar.
Look at all these players missing time, which includes the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, you don't want to see this. A calf injury down several weeks, but it is the NBA. Nobody pays attention until February. Nobody's going to miss Wemby. We'll all tune back in once football season winds down, right?
That's unfortunate too, man, because he's really starting to come into his own. They just got the Aaron Fox back, but I do think they are plenty talented enough to hold down the fort until he can get that calf back ready to go.
How about Giannis Antetokounmpo? Groin injury, which Doc Rivers after the game said, it doesn't look good. It looks like we're going to get an update on him. Down a couple weeks as well.
Yeah, not good at all for the Milwaukee Bucks, who really were struggling with him. And there were some knee issue problems. Now he's got the groin. It's going from bad to worse for the Bucks in a hurry.
I'll tell you right now, James Franklin, when you saw, I don't like him at a school like Penn State that goes, hey, we want to win a championship. He can't clearly do that. You sent him to Virginia Tech in the ACC where he never has to play a big football game. What a win for Virginia Tech. You'll get stability. You'll never win the big game, but your fan base won't care about you winning the big game. You'll never win a championship, but that's okay. This is actually the perfect match for Virginia Tech. Just get back to, yeah, we're a good program with zero expectations on our head coach, and that's where he'll thrive.
Well, it's great for James Franklin because he's no longer going to have to be looking down the barrel of a dumb where it's national championship or bust or, it's Big Ten. It's like now he's a big fish in a small pond. And you know what? He'll have a ton of success because Virginia Tech hasn't been relevant since the Beamer days back in 2011, 2010. It's been a while.
By the way, he'll recruit decent there, too. And Penn State likes to dip into that Delmarva Peninsula down there to get talent. You know Franklin's going to try to build a wall. Keep your hands out, people. John Bean's murderer was caught here, allegedly.
Good.
And that's news, man. That's the early lineup, Joe. We'll be right back. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In the 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You really it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Glorious Tuesday morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. The Early Line, we do it Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Ranieri, and we always get caught up right away in the mornings with some spread lines here, some information that you need to know, and some games that you might not be paying attention to, and you should be attention to these games. And that starts Michigan and Maryland Saturday. How about this start? Am I getting this correct? A 4 p.m. start between Michigan and Maryland. And this line opened up around 11.5, Joe. Now we're creeping towards 14s at some outlets here, and also a total of 46.5 to 45.5, depending on where you're shopping at. Look at Michigan, 8-2 on the season, on the road against Maryland, Joe. What's your spread line here?
Well, I thought this was interesting because we talked about it yesterday. Michigan did not look good at Wrigley Field against Northwestern. It was a ho-hum performance at that, which in turn caused that opening line, Donnie, as low as 10.5, even in some spots, to open up maybe a little bit of value, because it didn't take bettors long to jump all over that to push it up to where it is right now at the 13.5, maybe even getting to 2 touchdowns here. Now, Maryland did come out after, once again, not living up to expectations. They gave a vote of confidence, which is usually the kiss of death there, Donnie. Gave that vote of confidence to Mike Locksley there, the head coach at Maryland. But it doesn't seem like that has moved the market interest at all here. This line is only continuing to move up. It will be 2 touchdowns by midweek, I am sure of that, but I do not trust Michigan to cover 2 touchdowns. If it gets to that number, Donnie, I'll be going the other way quickly.
How about the UConn Huskies? 8 wins on this football season, sit at 8-3. They're going to take on Florida Atlantic at Florida Atlantic. This game is Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Line roughly around a touchdown or more at -7.5 at most outlets. Look at this total. Juicy at 65.5 plus. Let's take a look at UConn and Florida Atlantic. What is your spread line here, Joe?
Well, we're at that time of season here, Donnie, where some teams need a couple of big efforts and wins to get to, well, a bowl game, right? So FAU, well, they're in one of those positions. They need 2 wins for bowl eligibility. They have played some very good teams of late, and they've done a really, really good job against them. They're actually getting better as the season goes on. This line I saw on Sunday, Donnie, opened up 5.5 in spots, and well, it's been all UConn money after they beat Air Force on Saturday here. And listen, 8 wins. They got a great bowl game coming up. It's been a great season for UConn here. It's a little bit of a sleepy spot for them, and the over a touchdown might be worth taking a look at FAU here as this number continues to climb.
A little Big 12 action here. BYU taking on Cincinnati. BYU on the road, a -2.5 point favorite over Cincinnati in a total that sits at 53.5. You look at the numbers here. BYU 9-1 on the season, 6-1 in the Big 12. But Cincinnati playing that spoiler in the top 25 at home. BYU Cincinnati, Joe, give me a spread line here.
Well, here's the deal, right? I mean, this to me is one of the more interesting games of the weeks because Cincinnati has not looked good in its last 2 games, Donnie. They have looked absolutely terrible here in losing efforts. But BYU continues, for some reason, the market continues to think they're overrated. And that, there's regression coming. I mean, they lost to Texas Tech. There's no shame in that. And they're likely going to have an opportunity to get them back in the Big 12 championship. I want to see whether this gets to the 3.5. Do we keep getting Cincinnati money at home here? Or are the books and the market going, it's a field goal game one way or the other? Does it stay at 2.5? I think if it hits 3, Donnie, I'm going to be looking at Cincinnati in this one.
Buffalo and Houston, Thursday night football to get the week started off in style from Houston. This line sits around 5.5 as a heavy favorite for Buffalo. Heavy ticket count on the Buffalo Bills here in a total, which that look-ahead number was 45.5, has dropped to 43.5. You saw last week. Hey, you know what? Houston picks up a victory, even though it's against a bad football team, still a victory. Buffalo, real good performance in the wind at home. But now we flip it over to the Dome, Joe. Thursday night football between Buffalo and Houston. What's the spread line we can look forward to?
Well, Donnie, you and I have been saying it all year, right? Now you've got a road favorite on a short week. And in short weeks, we usually like, especially in this spot, maybe a home dog. But it doesn't seem to look like many other people are buying that at this particular point. So this is going to be an interesting one to see, right? Well, the look-ahead markets had this at about 2.5. It's not like Davis Mills looked all that great against the Titans. We'll see if C.J. Stroud can clear the concussion protocol in time for this one. But I think that's the thing you're waiting on, Donnie. If you want to jump the gun man, you want to grab Houston now because I believe if CJ Stroud is cleared during the week, this number is going the other way. So grab as many points now if you're backing Houston rather than later. I do think Stroud is going to be able to go for this one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if they do rush him back there. Davis Mills, back-to-back performances there with victories. We'll see if it matters. Again, you're still trying to hang on possibly to a playoff race here for Houston. Every win matters. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills. You want to try to chase down the New England Patriots. Over to the association we go tonight, 8 p.m. start. The San Antonio Spurs told you Wemby's going to be down for some time, but they take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're favored anywhere between 5.5 to 6 to 6.5 now on where you're shopping at in the total. Listed at 232.5. The Memphis Grizzlies and the San Antonio Spurs tonight from San Antonio. What's the spread line here for us, Joe?
Well, it's kind of crazy, right? Because we talked about Wemby here earlier. I mean, that's a big loss for the Spurs. This line was 5.5 overnight, Donnie. But, let's not forget, Memphis won't have Ja Morant either. And that's actually not a bad thing because of the distraction that he is, but he won't be in this game either or for the foreseeable future. So no Ja Morant with a right calf strain, no Wemby with a calf strain. And now all of a sudden, when you look at these rosters, it will not shock me if San Antonio at home starts getting a whole lot more money, Donnie, before tip-off here tonight. I would bet San Antonio sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the mess that we like to call down in Memphis here. Just waiting to change that team over. Thought you had that backcourt of the future. Desmond Bane on one side, Ja Morant. Now looks like probably both of those guys will be out of town. Well, certainly one of them already out of town. The other one probably going to get out of town sooner than later. And that's the way we do it. That's Spread Lines for a Tuesday edition right here of the early line. Let's get back to what happened on Monday Night Football. Is Dallas back? Let's go back and find out. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You really it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like, if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
TreVeyon Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and TreVeyon Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Out in the desert last night, it was the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. That line wasn't moving all that much, Joe Ranier. We saw the 3.5 threes all week long, maybe thinking that the Dallas Cowboys, coming off of the bye week after 2 brutal performances, would continue their brutal performances. And actually, in the first 2 drives of that game, Dallas goes 3 and out. Dallas has a turnover. Whoa! Same Dallas Cowboys at this point. Not the case. They turned up the gas out there in Vegas for 33 points, which saw Dak Prescott 25 of 33 for 268, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, a passer rating of 138.6. You had to make a point here with Pickens and Lamb. Who knows what they did, but once they got into the game, they performed here. 9 catches for Pickens, 5 for Lamb. Each one of those scored a touchdown, and they combined for over 200 yards of offense here through the air. Dallas sliced and diced Vegas and basically took the third and fourth quarters off here. It was an easy one.
Yeah, no, it really was. And I was looking very forward to seeing this new look Cowboys defense that got a ton of guys back for this one. They got Malik Hooker back. I mean, basically, they got 3 guys at the back end in that secondary that they have been waiting to get healthy enough to play. They got them back there, and what a difference. And then you brought in Quinnen Williams to sit there and do exactly what he did, get pressure on the quarterback. And what a night and what an opening game it was for him and this Cowboys defense. Every time you turned around, Quinnen Williams was in the backfield and getting a helmet on Geno Smith. It was a dominating performance, and that is kind of, Parsons aside, that's kind of what they were hoping they would have. A good defense with an offense that can light teams up. And that is exactly what the Cowboys looked like on a very emotional night for them last night as well, Donnie, with the passing of their teammate there, Nealon, just 11 days ago before that game. You knew they were going to be fired up, and boy, oh boy, they were.
Yeah, you saw the T-shirts out there as we got a graphic up on the screen here, certainly playing with heavy hearts last night. But what's the best way to honor a fallen teammate there? Go out and kick some butt on a Monday Night Football game, and that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys did. Now, when you talk about kicking butts here, I never thought Geno Smith was a good signing here for the Vegas Raiders, but apparently he now understands, too. It's all his fault, Joe.
I keep saying this, man. If something don't look right out there, blame it on me, right? If it don't look right, blame it on me. That's all you can do. Blame it on me. If your kids mess up at school, blame it on me. Car break down going to work, blame it on me.
He's right about that. And by the way, you had a decent year with Seattle, turned that into a paycheck for yourself, went to a downtrodden franchise. You can't turn it around. So, you know what, man? I'll own up to it. I stink. We stink. It's all good. We're 2-8. The Raiders feel like they're 2-8 every single season. This franchise is going absolutely nowhere at this point. And by the way, Geno Smith, 238 in the air. You draft a running back in the first round. He's got 7 yards. Brock Bowers, we know, is extremely talented. You have a roster where you're still trying to get minutes for Tyler Lockett. They are an absolute mess, and Dallas really took advantage of that last night, Joe.
Listen, Geno, listen, there's a lot of things we can blame you for. But yeah. You got to give the guy the benefit of doubt as well. I mean, they lost Colton Miller, the anchor to the offensive line. They lost all legitimate backups. I mean, they had 2 or 3 guys playing last night that were third stringers on the depth chart. Who are they going? They're going to block Quinnen Williams? Like it's you traded away his best target over the week. You have 1 target now, basically, and a guy that's past his prime in Lockett. And once you take Bowers away, everyone knows. Well, you got no offensive line. You got no weapons to stretch the field. All we got to do is take away the tight end, and voila, you're beating the Raiders. So there's enough blame to go around, but I don't think Geno Smith is at the top of the list as to why the Raiders have 2 wins on the season.
And by the way, we look forward to the Dallas Cowboys and say, okay, that's a really good win. Again, it's a lowly Raiders team. Fresh off, you got spanked by the Broncos. You got beat up by the Cardinals. You come off the bye. You add some improvements to your team, and it looks good last night. But now, the next 4 games, Joe, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, and we'll add that 5th game in there with the Chargers here. Put up or shut up time. Can they run the table? And we'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys as the hottest team in the NFL here. Interesting, that Eagles game coming up next weekend, huh?
Well, listen, you just want to give yourself a fighting chance. Yeah. And listen, Dak has done very good against the Eagles here in his career. He's done very good against the NFC East in his career. Yep. So now with a legit defense and a struggling Philadelphia offense, Donnie, that game is going to be very interesting here moving forward.
It is. We'll see that Eagles defense retooled there. The Dallas defense retooled here. The Eagles still stuck in neutral here on offense, but winning football games. Dallas looks like they got back on track with their offense last night. Fun stuff in the NFC East coming up this weekend, but also much more news and notes across the NFL landscape. Joe and Donnie will be right back after this short break.
Detroit's going to be a top 6 team in the East. And they're going to be extremely dangerous. And it may be fun to watching that Central Division between Detroit and Cleveland. Kind of makes you think back to the old early 2000s with LeBron and obviously the Chauncey Billups-led Detroit team. But Detroit basketball's back.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European Tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like, you can't go join a rival tour. Like, there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
News and notes across the NFL landscape here. Dropping down the hammer was the NFL yesterday on Jamar Chase. Why? Well, there was a fisticuffs out on the football field. Punches were thrown. Like, man, Jalen Ramsey lost his mind. He can't just simply trash talk with somebody. He's got to throw fists. Well, when you zoom in 4K with a million cameras in an NFL stadium, you get this. An actual spitting incident here involving Jamar Chase. And here's Jamar Chase once again saying, I didn't do that.
Walk us through what happened here at the gym. Exchanging words. You were saying that you spit on him? Did you spit on him? I ain't never opened my mouth to that guy. Yeah. What do you think prompted the reaction from them?
Well, you know, like some of the words I told him. We've been going back and forth the whole time, so I'm sure some got under his skin. So it was building the whole.
Huh. They didn't do it. They saw you do it. I didn't do it. That's when some of those, alleged murderers go and say, not guilty, Joe. Not guilty.
But if you've never opened your mouth to that guy, then how are you exchanging words then? I don't get it. You're contradicting yourself. And by the way, that was after the game on Sunday. They had a chance yesterday to ask him again, and he went no comment after, of course, the NFL brought the hammer down. So he went from never opened my mouth to literally not opening his mouth and saying no comment there yesterday. But even Zach Taylor, even his coach is like, yeah, listen, it's, that can't happen. It's unacceptable. And, it's going to cost him more than anything else. But the team now has to take on the Patriots without their leading receiver. So it kind of takes everybody down with them.
Yeah, it's time to send Joe Burrow to the to Fiji or maybe the islands here just to relax and say, don't rush, don't come back here because they're going to take on New England, one of the hottest teams in football. And also, They're 7.5 to 8.5 point underdogs now. We're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Why? Because their main weapon and basically the only, hey, T. Higgins is a good wide receiver, don't get me wrong. But now T. Higgins is the one where you go, we don't have to worry about the other side of the field. Now we can double down on him. Good luck moving the football, Cincinnati, and winning games here. You're taking on the New England Patriots this weekend at 1 o'clock in a total of 48.5. New England's going to have some fun on offense and probably some fun on defense as well. You know who's not having any fun, Joe, on offense right now? That's the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to be down their signal caller. Oh, boy. Okay. Penix is down. ACL injury. We probably won't even get it back to him mid next year, depending on how the surgery goes. And, oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. Kirk Cousins comes in. He's still going to have Drake London. He's probably not going to have Drake London either at this point. The Atlanta Falcons losing every week and losing guys every week as well.
Yeah, not good. And now, listen, I don't like Zach Robinson to begin with. The offensive coordinator, I didn't like him last year. I don't like him this year. I think the play calling is suspect. And now you're missing weapons. You've got Kirk Cousins back under center. And it just feels like the coaching staff way in over their head for this spot here. This team is far too talented to be as inept as they are, certainly offensively, Donnie. Something has got to give.
Yeah, something does have to give. It's never a good sign when the Atlanta Falcons are underdogs to the New Orleans Saints, which they currently are right now, minus 1.5 point favorites for New Orleans, and a total between 38.5 and 39.5. Go, Kirk Cousins, go. Welcome back to the NFL. He's probably going to be the starter the rest of the way for Atlanta. Good luck with that one here. But you know who else isn't going to be a starter anymore? Well, hey, Tyrod Taylor, back the starter. Justin Fields, no longer a starter, as the Jets are going to take on the Baltimore Ravens as close to 2 touchdown underdogs here. The foundation has been rocked for the Jets. Hey, look-see on Justin Fields. That look-see didn't work out. Jets 2 touchdown favorites, 2 touchdown dogs this weekend, and we don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields the rest of his time here with the Jets.
Yeah, and it came down because this was as high as 14.5, Donnie, and that was even where the look-ahead line was. It was starting to climb up, but keep in mind here, nothing, and I mean nothing we saw out of this Ravens team against Cleveland was impressive here, and it's still not. I mean, Lamar still making mistakes, but not enough to cost him against Shedeur Sanders here. And Tyrod Taylor, if nothing else, has been here. He has done this. He knows his team. He knows in this situation what his role is. And also Kyle Hamilton is playing very hurt for the Ravens right now on defense. And that's a problem. Yes, the Jets are no good, but my goodness, the Browns offense was no good either. And yet they could barely get out of there. So I wouldn't be running to the window to lay this many points with Baltimore right now. Still a lot of questions.
A lot of questions here also, and a lot of questions on what the heck's going on with the New York Giants this year. Firing your head coach, you know, the future quarterback's going to be Jackson Dart, when to put him back on the football field. Jameis is out here being competitive, but also you take a look at the New York Giants this week and you say, okay, well, Abdul Carter, who I loved coming into the draft, I thought he'd be a true game changer, half a sack on the season, and he's sleeping in the facility and missing team meetings. Now, number one, nobody woke him up, or number two, where the heck was he at in the facility? Hiding for everybody while he was taking a nap?
Yeah, well, we seem to have that. This is what happens when you're a 3-4 win team at most. This is 10 a year. The same thing with Dallas, by the way, who didn't start both of their starting wide receivers yesterday because it was a coach's decision, which I think is pretty funny because they were in there in the second series, so I guess it didn't matter much there. But the same thing here with the Giants. Like, if you're going to be a leader, be a leader, man. That's what your role is. But in this spot, is Jackson Dart playing? Is he not playing? Do we bring him back, Donnie, or do we just roll Jameis back out? I don't know that you're in a rush to bring him back either.
I'm telling you, like, he doesn't, at least for another month, he doesn't see the field because you're trying to lose football games, number one. You don't want to hurt your franchise quarterback by getting a second concussion in a short period of time. So that's a decision you have to make. Now, granted, usually leave it down to the medical doctors, and Mike Kafka certainly wants him out there because you want to win football games, but you got to bring him in slow at this point. By the way, this is one of those things where I say, well, I don't understand. Like, he was sleeping at the facility and he missed a team meeting. This is one of those things where Abdul Carter is not loved in the locker room. Hey, look at Abdul. He's sleeping over there. Good. Let's leave him. We'll go to the meeting because we know he's going to get in trouble. Instead of walking over and waking him up and say, hey, time for the meeting, man. Let's go. That's not a good sign for that leadership group there in the Giants, looking at some of those younger players. We'll find out more about that in the future. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
This was the same guy that before he played a snap in the NFL had the unmitigated gall to call Lawrence Taylor and say, hey, dude, I want 56. Yeah. Okay. Let me know how that works out for you, man. You got a long way to grow up, my man. Long way to go. Unreal.
His only job is to say, hey, look, we're going to coach you up just by saying you're going to be on third downs. Go sack the quarterback as a top 3 draft pick. And he can't do it right now. And he's sleeping in the facility. Man, the Giants. I don't know what goes on in that building, but certainly not good. How about this? This is an epidemic. And it finds out like, hey, who's playing today? The Browns. Or who's playing today? The Patriots. Well, let's just go look at some of these houses and go rob the people. We don't even know it says if anything was taken, but there was a break-in at Shedeur Sanders' residence while he was playing in the second half against the Baltimore Ravens.
That's such an odd headline, Donnie. Would he not have gotten broken in if he wasn't playing? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, like, I don't understand. Like, oh, he got into the game and all of a sudden somebody broke into his house. So you think they were watching the game and like Shedeur Sanders goes in, they're like, all right, now's the time. Let's go and break into the house. This has just got inside job written all over it again. All over the country. This isn't happening just in Cleveland. It's happening in a lot of cities with professional athletes.
It seems simple, but yeah, it's pretty smart for a criminal. Like, yeah, he's at the game. He's not going to be home. Turn the TV on. Oh, we're still in the third quarter? Yeah, he's not coming home anytime soon. And that's, guess what they're doing here. Look, get some ADT, get some cameras, get somebody to stay at your house while those games are on here. That's the best way to fix that scenario. Now, also, Shedeur Sanders came into that game, doesn't get a lot of reps, and no backup quarterbacks in the NFL during the week get reps. It's always the first-team guys. But starting this week, probably going to be Shedeur Sanders going up against Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a 3-point favorite. How about that game? You got Cleveland and Vegas after Vegas' fantastic performance last night.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, we know what the best unit on the field is going to be, and none of it involves Las Vegas. So that defense and Myles Garrett of Cleveland can win their games against an inept offense like the Raiders right now. That defense can win that game for Cleveland alone.
Myles Garrett sacks, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, maybe 5 this week against Geno. Coach, coming up next, let's talk some NBA action.
Detroit's going to be a top 6 team in the East. And they're going to be extremely dangerous. And it may be fun to watching that Central Division between Detroit and Cleveland. Kind of makes you think back to the old early 2000s with LeBron and obviously the Chauncey Billups-led Detroit team. But Detroit basketball's back.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European Tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like, you can't go join a rival tour. Like, there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Tuesday right here on the SportsGrid Network, the early line. You know how we get down. We like to talk all topics here. We talk some NFL, news and notes here. Shedeur Sanders on the road against the Raiders. But let's have a little bit more fun here. It's Donnie right side, Joe Ranieri. Let's bring in the coach, James Young, because NBA right now, the information is flowing, Coach, and it's not all good around some of these parts with the stars.
No, you got a ton of superstars hurt. Obviously, Wemby just getting hurt. Bradley Beal last week. Hey, but there was a Paul George signing last night, so maybe things are coming up in the Philadelphia.
Now, hold on, Coach. See, now you hijacked here, and I'm going to go along with you right here. Tyrese Maxey, 35 points every game, it feels like, in Philadelphia. The man's got bounced, the backcourt of the future. I'm excited.
Listen, Donnie, you should be excited with the way Tyrese Maxey is playing. And, Donnie, let's be honest. We saw this in that series against the Knicks 2 years ago when him and Brunson literally were going at it. The interesting thing about Philadelphia is I think they're at the fork in the road, right? To me, you have to hand over this franchise to Tyrese Maxey and VJ Etchcom. You've re-signed Quentin Grimes. You have the young Def McCain's coming his way back. You have to look at really the two older guys, Joel Embiid and obviously Paul George. I think personally, Paul George should be coming off the bench. He should be a sixth man. If he wants, he don't like it, he can leave. And then Joel Embiid has to stay healthy. And if not, they need to start to move off of some of these guys because their backcourt of the future is here. And it may be the best young backcourt in the league right now.
Woo!
Coach, I want to ask you about two teams that you and I know very well, your New York Knicks and my Miami Heat. And injuries, a concern again for the Knicks, but they went out and got some depth this year. With no Brunson, no Anunoby moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. We know what would be if the previous coach was on the sideline for the Knicks, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do this moving forward. And the Miami Heat with no Bam Adebayo or Tyler Hero yet, pretty impressive stuff with what they're doing as well.
Well, number one, Norman Powell has been fantastic. Only had 19 points last night. Davion Mitchell continues to be a reclamation project. You know, think about Sacramento giving away all those guards over the years. Remember, at one point they had Tyrese Halliburton, got rid of him. They had De'Aaron Fox, got rid of him. They had obviously Davion Mitchell, got rid of him. So Miami continues to find diamonds in the rough. Khalil Ware battled Mitchell Robinson better last night. Mitchell Robinson still got to the offensive boards. But when you talk about New York, it's going to be, honestly, about how they run their offense. If anybody's familiar with Sacramento Kings, how they run their stuff, they run what we call the split screen action, where they throw the ball to the high post, they set a screen, one to the ball, one away. That should set up Karl Anthony Towns to be a little bit more dominant. Got off to a slow start, 3 of 13 to start the game, ended up 7 of 19, obviously 22 points, 15 rebounds. But you have to look at other guys. Mikal Bridges has to step up. Deuce McBride has to step up. Yabusele came in looking like the Boston Celtics version of Shaq, which means he ain't in good shape. So he's got to get on Ozempic, Peloton. I don't know. Call Coach Young. I'm down 15 pounds this year. Call up Coach. I'll give you a workout plan to get you in shape.
By the way, talking about players that get in shape and need you back on the court, let's go over some injury information. Wembanyama down for a couple weeks here, it looks like, with a calf injury. Giannis Antetokounmpo last night goes down with a groin injury that Doc Rivers said not going to look good. Then you have Ja Morant out 2 weeks, and then we got a video here, Coach. LeBron James talking about his sciatica right here.
You ever had it? Never. Anybody ever had it?
Some version of it.
What did you know about it before you? I've had it. I had it 2 years ago. If you had it, then you know what the hell it's about. If you ain't never had it, and people making jokes about it, I pray you never get it. It's not fun.
Did you have it during the season 2 years ago or off season?
No, off season.
A lot of superstars, Coach, around the NBA banged up here at this time of the year.
Well, let's start with LeBron because I've said it forever. You know what's undefeated? Father Time. And it catches up with all of us. It's up there. I got a little C6, C7 in my neck. It is driving me crazy. So I understand that as you get up in age, it's going to be an issue. So for the Lakers, it's about managing and getting LeBron to the finish line. They have to lean heavily on Luka Doncic and obviously Austin Reeves, who's played like let's be honest, a top 10, top 15 player in the league. San Antonio guys is so intriguing to me because they finally got De'Aaron Fox back. Well, once they got De'Aaron Fox, they lost Dylan Harper. Now they lose Victor Wembanyama. But if you really peel back the curtains and look at this team healthy, when they go, you can go with a 3-guard lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell, and then you go front court with Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, and then you bring Sohan off the bench. Then you bring Keldon Johnson off the bench. Then you bring Champagnie off the bench. And then you bring Dylan Harper off the bench. That is a secretly deep team in San Antonio, a team that's going to make a run. And I think what's really of note, guys, is as we get down to this last 3 games of the NBA Cup, or last 2 games, I should say, before we get to that knockout round, look at the young teams, guys. You look at the young teams that have not won in the playoffs and see how they manage it. Can this be Indiana of 2 years ago that took themselves to the finals and then spearheaded that run they had to the Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals? Look at a team like Orlando that's 2-0. Look at Toronto that's played really well as of late. And then in that West Group C, I think it's San Antonio, it's Portland, and there's another team that's all 1-1 that are all looking to make that jump. NBA Cup is good, especially for young teams that are trying to learn how to win.
Coach, what are you thinking here? I know Giannis is also gone now, and that's not good news for Doc Rivers and the Milwaukee Bucks. But some of these younger teams starting to come into their own. Detroit, I don't know how sustainable it is. But how about the Hawks? I've been pretty impressed on this road trip and what they've been able to do with the young guys, minus Trae Young. What does that say about them?
Well, that says one thing. I said going into the season on Pro Basketball Today that I thought that Trae Young had more pressure on him than anybody in the Eastern Conference, because they, at some point, you got to start looking around and saying, what's the problem here? We keep moving coaches and players. But now Trae's out, and they're playing better without Trae. Dyson Daniels to the point. Alexander Walker at the 2. If he comes back and he messes us up, Atlanta's got an issue. Do they trade Trae Young? Remember, folks, they also have New Orleans' unprotected 2026 first-round pick.
Great stuff in the NBA from the coach here early with us on a Tuesday morning, Coach. Look, we check you out tonight. A little Warriors Magic action. I know you'll be watching the NBA card. It goes through JY, and we love him here on the early line. We'll be right back.
Watch the sciatica, Coach. Watch the sciatica.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim, don't leave New York, Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Early line here on a Tuesday. We go around the sports landscape here, talking NBA action, talking NFL action, but college basketball, Joe, it is here. Yeah, we're still in the silly season. We're before Thanksgiving, but the games seemingly are starting to improve, Joe. How you been enjoying this college basketball early season so far?
I love it, Donnie. I've had a great string of success here early on. Teams that we thought would be good are good.
Mm-hmm.
There are some mid-major programs that, as usual, may be standing out a little bit better than people give them credit for. The value in college basketball is now, Donnie, because once the cat is out of the bag, the market will take away all that value on some of these mid-major teams. So keep an eye out, especially a team like, I'll just throw it out there, Sacramento State, which is playing a very interesting brand of basketball with former NBA player Mike Bibby as the head coach there. Interesting team.
Team Dime right out there. And by the way, Sacramento State, that's the team with the big NIL now, trying to get into that marketplace, pay some players, see if they can do some damage here, Joe, which means the AP Top 25 as of this past week. Now, we might be looking through this to the same old, but look at the top 5. Purdue now number 1, Houston number 2, UConn 3, Arizona 4, Duke number 5. What are we thinking about the AP Top 25 this early, Joe?
Yeah, that's a shocking. I mean, who saw that coming? Like, come on. This is everybody on that list in that top 25. They'll just be jockeying for position from here on out. Big win by Houston against Auburn the other day on the road. And yeah, even the defending champs, Florida, had a big test against Florida State, had a big one against Miami that they handled. So, yeah, the Blue Bloods are the Blue Bloods for a reason, and you'll see 4 of them tonight with Michigan State, Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky.
There you go. Let's head to Madison Square Garden tonight. Early game. Love to see this, Joe. A 6:30 tip time. That's Michigan State and Kentucky from the world's most famous arena. A 5.5-point favorite right now, live for Kentucky, as you see the graphic there at -4.5. A total of 153.5. Michigan State and Kentucky at the Garden. Joe, how we feeling?
Yeah, well, big question here is Kentucky and their leading point guard, Jalan Lowe, and whether or not he will be able to go in this game here. But that hasn't stopped the market from thinking that, well, they are just that much better than Michigan State here. And listen, we know what Michigan State's going to be all about. They're going to play great defense. They're going to defend. They're going to shoot from 3. And they've done a pretty good job in this tournament over the years. I think it's a fascinating litmus test for these two teams, but I'm more inclined to take the points with Coach Izzo and Michigan State in this one.
Yeah, let me just take a look at Michigan State again. 3-1 for the 3-0 for them, 3-1 for Kentucky. Colgate, Arkansas, that's a solid win. Top 20 team here, San Jose State, and then Kentucky. And then the only loss that you saw the blemish from Kentucky, they had 3 layups, which they won easily, but then lost to Louisville here. So some competition on a neutral court site. Never to blame here, because we like this type of stuff. Don't give me the bums where you're playing each other. Give me the big talent, and you're getting that in the Garden.
Yep.
Which game number 2? Kansas versus Duke, Joe. Double-digit favorites for the Duke Blue Devils on a neutral court. The total of 149.5. What do we have from Shire and the boys tonight in the Garden?
Well, we have unfortunately, one less player for Kansas here tonight, and that is the presumptive number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And that with Darren Peterson, he's got a hamstring injury for Kansas, which means he's not playing in this game. Bill Self already said he doesn't expect him to be going, which is why this went from about 7.5, Donnie, to 10.5. You'll love, listen, this Duke team is huge. Boozer, they've got 2 guys at 6'9", 1 guy at 6'11". They can score from anywhere. They don't allow anybody in the paint to score. They are a juggernaut. The big play in this game, though, Donnie, is going to be the under. These two teams over the last couple of years, as much firepower as they have offensively, they're even better getting at it defensively. And I think that's what we're going to see again here tonight.
Yeah, Duke crushed Texas to start the season here, so a little elevated competition there. You take a look at Kansas as they beat Green Bay. They beat Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. They beat Princeton, and they lost a game by double digits to North Carolina. So some things to dip into, Joe. Are we getting points in these 2 games in the Garden tonight, or do you say, hey, neutral court, 2 teams feeling themselves out, maybe they stay under the total tonight?
I have a feeling both of these teams are going to be bringing defense. All four of these teams expect some defense, especially with that Kansas and Duke game.
How about that? 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. It's how we get down to business on a Tuesday morning right here on the Early Line on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside. The party is just getting started. Don't you change this dial. We'll be right back.